You're listening to Ideal Practice, episode number 153. Today, guys, we're going to take a deep look at a practice as it grows over time, the expansion and evolution of a practice and its owner. And it all starts with a woman who loved horses. So, stay tuned. Hi, I'm Wendy Pitts-Reeves, and with over 2 decades of experience in the private practice world, I've built my 6-figure business while learning a lot of lessons the hard way. This is the first podcast that shows you how to apply the principles of energy, alignment, and strategy to build a practice that is profit-centered, but people-forward. This is the Ideal Practice Podcast. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Ideal Practice Podcast. This is Wendy Pitts-Reeves, your host, and I am so happy to be hanging out with you guys again today. I have been traveling for a couple of weeks, and I don't know about you, but I always find it really lovely and delightful to get away from home for a while, to get out and do something new for a bit. And it is equally delightful to come back and get back into my routine. And that's kind of what's happening today. I am back at home, back in my routine and catching back up with things. And what a great way to begin my week. Today, we are going to have a conversation with Julie Jerrolds. Julie is an LPC, a licensed professional counselor who is in my area. We connected many, many years ago, and I'll share with you a little bit in the interview about how that happened and why that might be of interest. And her practice, I have learned, has really changed and evolved since I first met her back in the day. And I was so taken by that I wanted to talk to her. So I asked her to come on the program and just talk to me about how her practice has changed over time and how she has changed over time, because I think that's part of the joy of running a private practice. Not only do we have the freedom to be creative and to try things as our practice grows, but we ourselves change and evolve over time. And I never get tired of taking a look at how that looks for various people. So Julie is a licensed professional counselor. She's an LPC who is known for her work as an equine-assisted therapist. But there's so much more to that. And as you will hear in the interview, and as you will see if you go to her website, the number of different ways she has taken that basic concept, I work with horses, and found so many different ways of impacting lives, of helping people, and of expanding her business is really, really, really fun to dig into. And she is a delightful human being. There is so much wisdom in what she had to share with us today. I think you will hear it in her voice, and I think you're going to enjoy it. And if you are new at practice and this is all kind of like crazy for you, you're going to love what she has to say. And if you've been at this for a while, there are some things about this conversation that will be, I think, helpful reminders to you about what really matters most as a healer, as a clinician, and as a practice owner. So, without further ado, let's get into the interview. All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Ideal Practice Podcast. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so happy to be hanging out with you. You have already heard a little bit about my guest in the intro. I have been wanting to bring her on here for a good while, and I can't wait for you to hear all the really cool and creative things that she is doing with her in her practice. It's really, 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 it's a fun story. So let me, before I dive in, bring her on board. Say hi, Julie. Hello to everybody.
Hey, everybody. Hi, Wendy. Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here. My name's Julie Jerrolds. I'm a licensed professional counselor, supervisor, mental health service provider, all the things.
All the things.
I am currently EMDR certified, and just completed my hours on Monday to become an EMDR consultant. So I'm really excited about that.
Yay.
Yeah, it's exciting. And then I also do equine-assisted therapy. That's my thing I do. I'm certified in equine-assisted EMDR, and I provide people with a roundabout treatment of office work, arena work,
Yeah.
outdoor work, nature work, just kind of pulling it all together.
So many different ways of serving
Yeah.
people. So tell everybody where you are in the world, because I always get a kick out of that.
Yeah. I'm in Seymour, Tennessee, just outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. We're between Sevierville, Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, and Knoxville.
Yeah, if any of you have ever heard of Dollywood, that's
Mm-hmm.
not where she's at, but she's in that vicinity. So,
Yeah.
yeah. So for me, Julie is a local. But for you guys, I will just say she's in one of the prettiest parts of the country. You should come visit. I'll just say that.
Yes, for sure.
And you do have a really beautiful place. So I have had I will just tell everybody way back in the day. And Julie, I cannot remember for the life of me how we met, honestly. It's been so long now. I don't even remember how we crossed paths. But somewhere along the way, many years ago, when I learned about your work with equine-assisted therapy in particular, I brought my whole group practice out to see you. So guys, I'll just start with this. This is a good place to start. I wanted a therapist in my practice to understand how equine-assisted therapy works. And I'm a huge fan of experiential work anyway. So I brought the whole group out there, and Julie was kind enough to spend a day with us. And it was very powerful and did exactly all the things that this kind of work does. So Julie, let's start by, who do you serve? Who is your target audience? Who are your clients these days?
My target audience is mostly adult men and women with PTSD or some sort of trauma history, big trauma or little trauma, and just really connecting them through EMDR and the horses to themselves, practicing mindfulness. But that's really who I see. I see mostly adult men and women. I do see some teens, but mostly 16 and up, I'd say probably would be the range where I
Okay.
stop.
And a lot of trauma-based work. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I do also do couples. There's a
Oh,
lot of great, wonderful things the horses can do with couples work. I also help families do family therapy with the horses. And then also, I do work with a lot of therapists.
oh yeah. I wanted you to mention
Yeah.
that. Yeah. Tell
Yeah.
everybody what you did this past weekend.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. So this past weekend, myself and two of my colleagues, Amy Cole and Barney Barclay, we did a group EMDR, equine-assisted group EMDR, and it went fantastic. It was called Burnout to Balance, and it was really for practitioners. It's for medical professionals and mental health professionals, and really just helping people connect through the wonderful work of EMDR, get rid of some of that stuff that lingers because we as helping professionals we help so many people and sometimes we carry that around, and the
Yeah.
group was really for a process of letting some of that go
That's really
to
great.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And this was the first time you've offered that, right? That was a new
Yes,
experience.
this was the
Yeah.
first time and it went really great,
I love
and
it.
it was the weather was perfect, and yeah, it's great. Yeah.
Yeah. When you do experiential work in the outdoors, weather is
Hmm.
always a factor.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. That's funny. So, how long have you been in the field of mental health, and how long have you been in private practice?
I have been a therapist for 29 years this year. And I've been doing equine assisted therapy for about half of that, about 15 years.
Mm.
Private practice started, well, it's kind of funny. The way I worked in community mental health and community
Ah,
substance use disorders treatment way back in my 20s.
yeah.
And then I moved into doing contract work with those places. And then had my children. And after I had my children, I did just contract work so that I could be with them, but also make some money, right?
Right. So you were
And
working as a 1099 at that point, right?
yes, that's
Okay.
absolutely right. And I was
Okay.
working as a 1099 before that, actually, like really
Mm.
early in my career. I was a director of a drug court. I was a director of
Ah,
Brookhaven.
ah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
so did kind of transitioned into working for myself pretty early just as a contractor, simply because that was the way it was designed at that treatment center. But
Mm-hmm.
I still got all the benefits of working with people and staying connected in that way.
Okay.
And then continued to work in equine assisted therapy as a contractor for years. And I opened this place in 2016, Open Reins Counseling, which is what I've opened up here. but I've been working in private practice for a while based on that contract. So I know that was a really long answer, but yes, 2016 was when I opened Open Reins at my home.
That was a
So
big deal.
yeah, that
That
was
was
a
a
big
big deal.
deal.
Yeah. I didn't realize you were head of or director of Brookhaven. That's
Yeah.
I'd forgotten that. So y'all, Brookhaven it was a residential for women. Was it,
Hmm.
I can't remember, was it domestic violence or was it just a women's
Mental health. It was mental
mental
health.
health? Yeah.
Yeah.
In
Hmm.
this really, really beautiful place way out in the country.
Hmm.
I
It's
did
in
it.
Seymour. It was actually in
Yeah.
Seymour.
Seymour is real country, y'all. It's real pretty. It's a really
Yeah.
beautiful rural area here in our area. Um, I did an all-day girls workshop at Brookhaven once, way back in
Oh,
it's one of the early things I did in my private practice. That's so funny, isn't
yeah.
it? So,
Yeah.
so already just hearing that, like what I'm struck by, a couple things there right off the bat is the variety of experience you had before you started your practice. You
Hmm.
had already worked in a number of different types of settings
Hmm.
in terms of intensity, community mental health, inpatient, all that kind of stuff. And as a contract worker, you were already getting used to managing your own billing, submitting invoices, tracking your expenses. Like that's kind of that's kindergarten version of building a business, right? That's where you were getting started.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Hmm.
So one of the things, so Open Reins, which we'll have a link to your website for sure.
Okay.
Um, that's a big deal to create a space to work with horses. When you was that kind of a goal all along, or like tell me about like how did you land there? This is what I wanted to, because there's a lot of money that goes into creating a space to serve people. There's a lot of liability stuff. There's so many more factors to creating a practice that involves horses, much less than renting a space in somebody's building and seeing people for an hour a week. Tell me a
Hmm.
little bit about how you landed. Like, where did you? I'm curious about what your vision was in the beginning and how you made the decision. Like, you know what, I'm going to do this. Because it
Hmm.
was quite a commitment. Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So, I started doing equine therapy in residential settings first as a
Mm-hmm.
contractor. And through that process, I was like, oh, I really want to do this, myself. Like I want to, grow and so what we did was we built the arena. So when I bought this place, I made sure it could have a business at it, a horse
Okay,
business.
that it was
So that was
zoned.
one thing.
Yep.
That was zoned. That was big.
Yeah.
And then built the arena in 2016 and stared at it for a while because I
Mm.
was like, uh-oh, now it's built.
Now what?
Now do I actually, now what do I do? Like, I was
Yeah.
scared. I was like, what do I do now?
Yeah.
How do I get
Yeah.
people? What do I do?
Yeah.
And
Because you have been
so,
going out to existing facilities. Now you've got to bring them to you. It's a whole different thing.
yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I had all these ideas of all these things I wanted to do, but I didn't really know where to start. So I did that. Just started with one client, and we actually started in the winter, and it was cold, and we sat in my car and stared at the horses. In her car with the heater on.
That's funny.
Yeah, so it went from there. Started getting referrals and had a few people, and then it just started building from there. And so, but yes, back to your original question about the liability and everything. It's a layer of finding out. I have formed an LLC.
Yep.
I got insurance for malpractice insurance for myself, then I get malpractice insurance for the equine.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to, take care of the horses and have the horses and all that goes along with that when they're happy and it's healthy and it's grass is growing, everybody's happy. And then in the winter, it's,
Yep.
uh,
Yeah.
so yeah, so it was a process of learning how to do that. And I've learned so much through this process of, I think one of the biggest things I've learned is just do it, start
Mm-hmm.
it, and go from there. It doesn't have to be perfect. I think that's the
Right.
biggest thing I could give anybody is if I didn't have the arena, I could have started in my round pen and been fine.
Mm.
I could
Yeah.
have stood,
Yeah.
yeah.
Because you have a covered arena and it's really nice. It's beautiful. It's
Hmm.
huge.
Hmm.
And I know that it's a big deal to have a covered arena. That's a special thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you didn't have to do that. So that was a lot of upfront
No.
expense that you put into it because you want to have everything just right. Got it. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And I because I was working at other places that didn't have covered arenas, what I noticed was the weather really did impact, obviously, what we couldn't do. So I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go ahead and build an arena, and did that. And then have to, of course, had to have a driveway where people could park, and then expanded into groups where people had needed to park. So it's been an evolution of the gravel and the upkeep and the weeding and all the things, making sure it's nice and pretty
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So when you started your practice, do you remember? Well, you're like so many of us. I mean, I was the same way. You're just sort of figuring it out as you go, and like, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying stuff, right? I don't know what I'm doing. When you became a mental health professional, and when you began to think about doing this on your own, did you imagine originally like just a traditional practice, and then this was kind of like, oh, wait a minute, here's a whole different idea, or was this kind of like from the beginning when you thought, I want to run my own business? This is what I want to do.
Yeah. Yes, it was from the beginning. It was equine-assisted therapy.
Good.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah.
And then what's happened is it's expanded into equine-assisted EMDR and the layers. I started way back in the day with the trainings of equine-assisted therapy, and there's several different ones, and I've been to most of them. And that really taught me. It's like, oh yeah, and I could do this, and I could do that, and do this and that. And then as I started seeing clients, I think that's the other thing that's really important, is just seeing clients and seeing what's needed. It's like, oh,
yep.
This is needed. This is needed. The other thing that I did early on was work with other practitioners, other counselors in the area, and had them, if their client was stuck in EMDR, stuck in therapy, needed something different a little bit, I could meet with them a few times and do some equine-assisted EMDR or just equine therapy,
In fact, I sent a teenager to you, which I had forgotten about, but I swear I don't remember how it's been so long ago. It's so funny.
Yeah.
But I had a teenager that I felt like I had gone as far as I could with in traditional psychotherapy, and she needed to get out of her head and into her body, and I sent her to you. That's right. Yeah. So as an adjunct therapy, which is great. That's a great way. Okay. So things began to expand as you began to sort of like figure stuff out, and you've already highlighted 3 lessons here.
Awesome.
Things that what I'm noticing that I want to sort of put a pin in certain things as we go along to make sure people catch it. So the first thing you said was there's lots of ways of doing equine-assisted therapy, and you have studied all of them. You've been to all of them or almost all of them. So what I'm hearing in that is you really dug in and became a true expert in the modality that speaks to you, that you love the most. So that you really, 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 really know your stuff. And you didn't just go into a little bit and go, oh, okay, I got that. You have remained open to nuances and new developments in that modality so that your literal skill set continues to expand and deepen over time. That's an important lesson. One of the things when I have given talks about running a private practice, I will often talk, there's all kinds of different things you can do to make it work, but I always end with the bonus, and the bonus is you got to be good at what you do. Because if you're not good at what you do, the rest of it doesn't really matter. And that's the first thing you've done. And then the second thing you said was about learning from clients, which I also think is something that we sort of underestimate. So, and I don't even know that I've talked about this much here, but it is true that once you get started, just get into it, as you meet people, serve people, stumble through things with people, have various wins along the way, and where it doesn't go so well, you learn from that what clients need, what works, what you like doing. And if you're a creative entrepreneur, which most of us tend to be, it's really easy to go, oh, what if I did this? What if I did that? And you come up with new ways of serving people. I am just remembering there was a time when I saw a bunch of teenagers. That was kind of my thing for several years. And there was a point when every single teenage girl I had was telling me the same story.
Mm.
But you will notice, like you notice these patterns among your clients, right? They all went to different schools, but they were all telling me the same daggum story. And at one point I thought, I've got to get these people together. And I ended up creating a small group, would invite them to my office, push the furniture back, made a bowl of popcorn. We sat on the floor and we talked about those stories. That was my first version of listen to your clients. So I'm going to come back to that in a minute because I think there are lots of ways this has evolved in your practice over time. I want to come back to that. But the third thing you highlighted was about where to get business from. So reaching out to other therapists, I can help you with your clients. I can serve as an adjunct. I can help, if you've got somebody who's stuck. This is another way of thinking about networking, not just send me your people if you're full or whatever, but I can help you with your existing clients. I can serve you. So that's a whole different audience, serving the clients themselves who came to you, but also serving other colleagues. That's great. Those are three really good ways to build a practice right off the bat.
Yeah. I think also two things. One is the mentors that I've had, the people that I've worked with, that supervisors, consultants. The woman who trained me, Sarah Jenkins, in equilateral, the equine-assisted EMDR protocol, she created it. She's, been one of my biggest mentors, to be able to go to her and ask her, and I have this idea, and think about that. And just really putting those people in your life that you can go to and ask questions, and that we're willing to help each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's for sure. That's a big one. And then just being able to try new things and not be afraid to fail, or fail is probably not a good way to put it. Just not be afraid that things didn't go exactly right. I know that when I did this, what I've offered to a lot of therapists in town is, come out here and see what's going on. But also, like with the burnout retreat that we did this past weekend, it was, oh, this is what we're doing. Bonnie and Amy were like, oh, this is what we're doing. It's like, oh, you know what? You could include the horses in that and it'd be magical. I had never thought about that before, but she was telling me, I'm like, oh, this is what we need to do. I need to get you out here and put the horses with that, and it'll be fantastic. So I think that's the other thing too, is being open to try new things. And when they came out on Saturday, I told them, I was like, one of the things that happens to me personally is I get a little nervous about, will the horses measure up to everybody's magical dream that the horses will be?
Yeah.
And is that a reflection upon me somehow?
Will my kids perform?
Yes. And sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. But the truth is it doesn't matter what they do. It's really what people make of it, and it has nothing to do with me. And that's been really wonderful part of, that the clients already have the answers. People you work with have the strength within them. It's not our job to make them better. It's their job to dig within and find it, because it's already there. And it's so moving and wonderful to watch them do that, rather than try to just tell them what to do.
Yes. Yes. And so has that been also part of your growth over time, of learning to sort of relax and trust? It sounds corny, but trust the process for real.
Yeah.
And just sort of be present to whatever's unfolding in front of you, and know that, it's all grist for the mill, is what I always say. You can use anything. Good.
Yeah, I always tell my clients, I can make anything out of anything. They're like, yeah, we know. But I think one of the cool things that happened to me in my early 20s was when I got my very first job. Somebody dropped out of a training that they were going to, and they were like, hey, do you want to go? I'd been there like 3 days. I'm like, yeah, I'll go. And I chose the experiential track. And that was my very first training I ever went to. And so I learned really early on that there are no real mistakes. It's just information. It's not right or wrong. It's just information for us to go, oh, look what happened. Look there.
So true. Yeah.
Yeah. Takes the pressure off a lot.
Yes, because you're not trying to aim for a particular outcome. You're just trying to learn along the way about whatever happens. Right. Oh, that's so good. Yeah.
Yeah. And be quiet. There's a slogan, an acronym in equine therapy. It's wait. Why am I talking?
I could
just
use
wait.
that.
Just wait. Just wait.
Why am I talking? Oh, that's great. Yeah. I love this. I think I really do also love experience. I've done a lot of outdoor stuff, wilderness-based work. And watching what happens to people when you get them in the woods, whether it's kids or adults, and when they run into themselves. That's really what happens. They run into themselves, and you have to sort of, all you're doing is creating a container, a safe, relatively safe. It's not always completely safe. There are risks involved, but place for them to explore and sort of learn from what they are experiencing, because you can't, it's right in front of you. It's like you can't deny what's happening in front of you. I love that. So have you found that over time you've kind of settled down a little bit as a clinician and as a business owner, like sort of settled down into the work, both in like literally in the moment with clients, but also in what it takes to keep this whole thing going? Do you trust yourself a little bit more than you did in the beginning?
Yeah, that's a great question. Yeah, I think I do trust myself a little bit more. I also find that I'm never really ready to settle, to stop. I'm just completing my EMDR consultant, so now I'm going to be a consultant for equilateral, the equine-assisted EMDR, and so that's the next phase for me, is really moving into the teaching. Or the consulting, I guess be a better way to put it, consulting with people on what's happened. And I encourage everybody to go to trainings, go, learn something new, incorporate it. It rejuvenates me every time I go to anything. It helps me stay focused on what maybe I don't want to use and what maybe I think would really help over here for my personality and my clients that I'm working with. But yeah, I doing the consulting, doing the groups, just expanding in that way has been exciting.
Yeah. And keeps it fresh.
Yeah,
Keeps it fresh.
Keeps it fresh and exciting and expanding and possibly maybe hiring new people and just moving, growing as we are, and just it's exciting and a little nerve-wracking, because it's like, okay, well, if I hire people, what do I do then? So so I'm constantly learning, right? And I think that's the other thing too, is we don't really ever have it truly figured out. We're learning. We're growing and we're learning, and to not be perfectionistic, and to just know that some things will work and some things won't. And we don't have to have all the answers. I think that's the biggest thing when I do supervision and consultation for new clinicians or people learning EMDR. They think they have to have it all figured out. And while, yes, we need to be attuned to what's happening with our client, and we need to have an understanding of what we're doing and study and have a basic foundation for what we're doing, but also too owning, like, if you're doing EMDR and you accidentally read the script wrong, go, oh, sorry, let me backtrack just a minute. Being a human being with your clients, I think, is valuable.
A human being, right? A fallible human being.
Yes.
So bringing a certain level of professionalism, yes. Having the foundation in place, yes. But don't be afraid to try stuff, and don't be afraid to mess up. I had a coach who said one time, just on a random comment, she said, "Just you have to learn to love the tweak." And I thought, that should be a T-shirt, learn to love the tweak. Like, you can't perfect a process that hasn't even started. So try something. And if you screw up, so what? Yeah.
That's right. And and I think what happens with your client connection, because it's always a collaboration with your clients, is, we're all doing the best we can. We're all fumbling through trying to do what we think is going to help our lives be better, and that there is no destination. It's I use this with my clients, comparing your insides to other people's outsides. It's like it's looking at them and thinking on social media or whatever it is, and thinking they have it all together, when we're all really just a little nervous sometimes.
Yeah. It's funny. I should highlight this. I didn't do this. You mentioned Amy Cole and Bonnie Barkley, both of whom I have had on this program back in the first year that I had it going. I'm in my third year now. And in both cases, which is perfect, because it makes perfect sense that the three of you would have done something together. I was interested in Bonnie because she was starting to do these intensives, which was a new idea at the time. That's kind of caught on, and now she's teaching other people to do it. And now her business is changing. It's just so cool to watch people's practice evolve. And then Amy, I had on just because she had such a fascinating backstory of all the different things that she's done in her life that landed her where she is now. And all of that is about continuing to learn, being willing to try things, not being afraid of messing things up, and sort of following your heart, your interest, your spirit, like what's drawing you forward all the time. And it never gets boring. That's for sure. Right? Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's funny.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, no, we definitely. I met Bonnie through the intensive workshop that she does, and I do them now too, and I love
I
them.
love
They're
it.
great. Yeah,
I love it. I love
yeah.
it. This is how networking works, y'all. Yeah, it's really great. And influence. Like now the three of you are like, you're all doing such really cool things and now
Mm,
tried it together. I love that. I love that. I can hear in you as you talk. I can hear the confidence,
mm.
and how
Thank
that
you.
has changed as time has gone. I hear it. So that's why I was asking about that. There is nothing like running a business to sort of bring up your stuff,
Oh yeah.
right? I often say that
Yes.
business is psychotherapy on steroids, like just being a business owner. Yeah. What have been some of the challenges for you along the way? Where have you run into yourself as a business owner? I'm kind of curious about
Hmm.
that because we
I
all
would
do.
say confidence for sure. At first, I can remember talking to my husband about where do I find people? What do I do? And he was like, well, and I would kind of get stuck in that. Well, I don't have anybody. What do I do? And he would say, well, what, maybe go out and find somebody. And I would get frustrated because I'm like, well, how? But the truth was is that I was scared.
Mm,
I was nervous about,
yeah.
just taking that one foot forward. And once I did that, boom, it was just like, oh, here it is. And everything, slowly progressed. It didn't happen like that. It slowly
Yep.
progressed. So that would be one thing that I would say. And then the other thing I would say that gets in the way too is how much to charge. That's always
Mm,
been a thing, for me personally, because it's like, well, if I'm going to do these groups, how much do I charge? Because right now what I do is I do individual therapy, but I also do group therapy for several in IOPs in the area.
oh, okay.
And so they bring their clients out. They're doing a 12-week or 90-day, however or I mean 6 months. It just depends on how long they're there.
Yeah.
And they come out once a week, once every other week, once a month, and do group therapy with me. And I love
Wow.
group therapy. It's been fantastic.
Yeah.
And so that's another thing is, well, how much do I charge these people? What am I worth? And then as time goes on, how much do I increase
Yep.
because I'm, what like I'll see somebody like let's take Bonnie for example, like she was like, this is what I'm charging, Julie, and you've got horses and this is what you're charging. Like, oh, okay. So knowing my worth and owning that, but also
Yes.
having the training and the mentor to back it up. I think
Mm,
that's really, it's like I'm not an expert. I mean, I heard you say earlier expert. It's like, ooh, am I? But
yes, you
I mean,
are.
maybe
You are.
maybe in some way, yeah. And so it's like it's really great to, and I tell you what, doing that training with them this weekend really helped too because it's like, oh wow, look, I really do know
I
what
do
what I'm
know.
talking about. I do
Yes.
know. Yeah.
I have a client who says, I know stuff and I can do things.
Yes.
I know stuff and I
Yes.
can do things, which we seriously undervalue all the time.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. And I also think that
Mm,
the just pushing yourself, even if you're afraid,
yeah.
courage is stepping in the arena even when you're nervous, even when you're scared. Doing that, practicing courage all the time, just helps so
Yeah.
much. Because
Yeah.
really, it is we're all a work in progress and going through the process of just pushing ourselves a little
Yep.
bit.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
and not being afraid to grow and be challenged.
Right. Which is
Hmm.
where having a mentor comes along. A mentors, teachers, coaches. Um, it can even like that can even be just another practice owner who you admire, who
Hmm.
is willing to kind of like give you a nudge every now and then to do better or to think
Yeah.
bigger. Right. Yeah. We need people in our life. I think we all need people in our life who challenge us to grow in some way, who can see what we are
Hmm.
capable of and who call us forward in some way. We all need that.
Hmm.
Um, so my business, the official name, the legal name of my business is C2C Consulting. And the letter C, the number two, so C2C. And what that stands for that nobody ever knows is courage to confidence,
Oh, I love it.
right? Because experiential work, the only way you are ever going to feel like you know what you're doing is to try it and
Yes.
tolerate not knowing, right?
Hmm.
So that you can grow into it. And that goes back to the experiential stuff, which has been sort of a theme. Running a business is experiential work, which I
Yeah,
haven't
that's
thought
so
of till just
true.
now, but it is, isn't
Yeah.
it? Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And that fear. So you said when you were talking about how do I get people? What do I do? And when you said that your husband said, just go get people. I had this vision of you walking down on the city street and standing on the corner. Like, you want to come work with horses? Don't you need help? Let me help you.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Yeah.
So learning to ask for the business, physically going someplace where I'm going to say physically because it's really easy for us to hide in our offices. And nowadays it's easy to hide behind our computer, but to physically get out where you meet potential referral sources and introduce yourself and tell people what you do. How did you, well, you already had a network because you've been doing all that consulting work. So where did your first clients come from? Was it letting the organizations that you worked for say, hey, you know what? I'm actually doing this myself now. I've got a place. Like, is that how you started?
Yeah. So the funny thing about my husband was I think he used the term beat the bushes.
Yeah.
And so that was where I was like, wait a minute, how do I beat the bushes? Or beat the bushes, however he said it. But
Yeah.
yes. So the first client actually was one of the clients that was in the residential center that I was working at. And she graduated and she wanted to continue her equine-assisted EMDR. She wanted to continue her trauma work. So that was my first client that way. And then also Psychology Today was fantastic. That was really how I got a lot of people to find me in the area and everything. So that was really great. And then also the network of people that I knew that had already known me for doing equine assisted therapy for years before that. And just, told everybody, posted on Facebook at the time. I didn't do Instagram or anything, but, just posted on Facebook and told all my friends, hey, this is what I'm doing. And I think also too, being in private practice can get isolating.
Yes.
And so I think that that's another thing to really keep up with your contacts and your connections because, that's just, we all need help and support.
Yeah. How do you do that now? How do you stay in touch with the community now?
Yeah. So friends, like I have friends, obviously, some, but a few. Friends, Facebook, that's a big way, Instagram, but also to attending some of the meetings. And there's different Facebook pages that will, for practitioners in the area. And then attending any meetings and also too, doing supervision or there's some groups, the EMDR, where we do peer consult. I haven't been to those in a while because I've been kind of busy doing the other EMDR stuff, but that's a way to connect with people. I just find it's amazing and it just enriches my practice so much, just connecting with other people and other people doing the same thing and talking about what we're doing.
Yeah.
So amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not that hard. It's easier than you think. You just have to put yourself in the room. Just get yourself in the room somehow. Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been to some luncheons and stuff like that where we all get together and talk and
I had somebody reach out to me about coaching a couple of days ago that was quite unexpected. And it was someone I had met at the end of a conference 2 years ago when I had posted a thing on Facebook that said, hey, I'm going to be hanging out at the hotel next door when the conference is over if anybody wants to come.
Yeah.
And it was a tiring day and people did not want to come. It was cold and dark and it was in the late fall and people did not come. One person showed up and said, I'll come. And we hung out for a while and she was delightful. Somebody I had never met before. We had a great conversation. And 2 years later, she reaches out and says, hey, I'm doing this thing and I would love to come and talk with you. I'm like, okay.
Oh, so great.
You never know. Like that's how relationships start. It's super cool.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take much. Doesn't take much. Yeah.
Oh, conferences, another one. Yes. That's a great way to meet people and just, connect with people in your area. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah. And learn too. And learn.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you're doing all kinds of things now. You were doing more than I even knew. The reason I reached out to you is because I saw the promo for the balanced burnout to balance that you just did. And I thought, this is cool. I want to hear about this. And then when I talked to you, you had all kinds of stuff going on. So tell everybody, things have changed over time, Julie. Tell everybody what you got going on now. It's a lot.
Yeah. So, okay, let's see. I told you I'm becoming an EMDR consultant. I'm going to be doing EMDR, equine-assisted EMDR consulting for people who have been trained in it. I do the groups. I do individual therapy, work with families, Bonnie and Amy and I are going to do another one of these group EMDR. I think that's going to be something we'll do twice a year, just providing that connection and work for people in the field, maybe branch out. Hopefully we'll get some medical professionals and So that I also wrote a journal.
Oh,
I
yeah.
did have a mindfulness journal. I wrote it because I practice mindfulness I'm DBT certified and I practice mindfulness in my practice with my clients. I encourage them to. And what I noticed was missing was a lot of people, I encourage people to journal. And a lot of people will say, but I don't know what to write. I don't know what to write. And so I've taught them about mindfulness in our sessions. And so the journal has prompts, daily prompts for them to go in and answer the questions. So that's been
That,
awesome.
is
Yeah.
that already created? Have you already got that out
It's
there?
already created. It's on Amazon.
Oh, look at
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah.
That's your
It,
first
it took
physical
me a
product.
while.
Yeah.
It is. And it took me a while. I am not great at any of it. So this is a, if I can do it, you can do it kind of thing. Like I sat on Canva for months
Fiddling with it.
figuring it out
Yeah.
and figuring out
Yeah.
Amazon. And so yeah, so it's on Amazon. It's been on Amazon now for I think about 6 months.
Good for
So
you.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that's awesome.
Another thing you're trying. Another thing you don't know how
Yes,
to do.
that's
Yes.
right.
Yeah. So I had never even heard of EMDR as a group or EMDR with horses at all. That was completely new to me. Do you mind
Mm-hmm.
just kind of telling us a little bit about that? What that is, how that works? Because that's new to me.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. EMDR with horses really is a wonderful way for your clients to connect with themselves, be present. It's really great for people who dissociate or who
Oh.
struggle in EMDR because the horses they don't understand English, they read body language, and so they're responding to what's happening. I mean, I've had them while I'm doing EMDR with someone circle around the person. I've had somebody dissociate and the horse will nudge them to keep them grounded. I've
Hmm.
had them stay away. I've had them walk between us, had them
Hmm.
do all kinds of wonderful things to help keep the client grounded. So it's a wonderful, wonderful way to help keep clients grounded in the
Hmm.
in the moment. And then also the other thing that it does is so many people feel so connected to animals.
Yeah.
So it's really just this beautiful thing that happens. On Saturday, I looked over and people had their heads resting on the horse or hugging the horse, and the horse just stood silently while they
Hmm.
processed some of this deeper stuff. And so I think it's also just the kindness and the loving. I've had them come up and put their heads on people's shoulders.
Hmm.
I had one last 2 weeks ago. I was practicing equine-assisted EMDR in a session, and I've never had this happen. The client was doing the work, and the horse just laid down right there
Wow.
next to the client, and the client was able to really process. And what we worked on was holding both, holding this is what's happening. I'm reprocessing, and this is what's happening now. I'm aware that this horse could roll backwards. It could get up.
Hmm.
It's breathing.
Hmm.
He's farting, I mean, all the things
Yeah.
while still reprocessing. So it's wonderful. So that's really what they're used for. Also, they're used for resourcing. So an example would be if you do something really great with the horse and you feel really great, we can resource that in and enhance it with the eye movement to help you remember what that confidence was like. So that's really awesome too.
Oh, okay. Okay. So are you like, are you basically doing like what I would think of as a traditional EMDR session? You're both sitting in chairs in the middle of the arena and the horses are just around you while you do your thing? So they're not actively engaging with the horses necessarily. They're engaged with you. You're just doing the session. But the horses
Well,
are
no,
present, or is it something
yeah,
different? Yeah.
it's something a little bit different. No, there's no
Okay.
chairs. There's no
Okay.
chairs. They are, so it's twofold. One, they're working with the horse in some way. Like, let's
Okay.
say they have to lead the horse around and the horse is pushing their boundaries or something, but they set a clear boundary. We can resource that in, do it
Mm,
that way.
mm,
Right. So that feeling. Then the other thing
yeah.
is if we're reprocessing some trauma, the person is standing or walking, and the horses will gather around or not, or put their head
Wow.
on their shoulder or not. And then that
Right.
person is reprocessing their trauma in a way that helps keep them present in the moment. And like I
Yeah.
said, it's really great for clients who dissociate or who
Yeah.
may have trouble staying, 1 foot in the present, 1 foot in the past.
Yep. Yep. So it's
Yeah.
an anchor, a really,
Hmm.
really beautiful anchor.
And it's
That's
also an
awesome.
anchor in mindfulness practice too, which is
Hmm.
a really wonderful. We practice a lot of mindfulness and they use the horse as an anchor.
I love that. That's gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. No matter what the horse is doing. Because a lot of times the really cool part about mindfulness practice is we all know practicing mindfulness, sitting in a chair in a quiet, dark room with some music playing is amazing. But
Yeah.
when you try to practice that in life and you're surrounded by all these things, it's a little bit harder. So the horse provides that real life
Practice.
interaction. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I love that. Your
Yeah.
face lights up when you're talking about the horses.
Oh yeah, they're so fun and it's never a dull moment and it's always something new and I can't ever the coolest thing I think that it's taught me and I hope that people can learn this even if you don't have horses in your office or not in your office but
Yeah.
in your office too. But I hope
I
people can
don't have a horse in
remember
my office.
you should. You should. But I think the thing that's the best thing that you can learn is that you can try your best to plan it
Mm-hmm.
but it's always going to unfold the way it needs to unfold. And that's so
Mm-hmm.
beautiful out there. It's like, this isn't about me, it's about the client and their work. And
Yeah.
I've learned over the years, I remember a supervisor telling me back when I was in my 20s, can't take credit for their success or their failures.
Yeah. Right.
They're doing the work. And so
Right.
that has stuck with me all my career is that this is really about offering them this wonderful place and
Mm-hmm.
my skills, and then they get to do the work and
Mm-hmm.
they will do it. They will do it. They have all the skills they need within them. And we need to teach them some too. I mean, it's
Yep.
both and. Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Strategy has a place. Skills have a place.
Hmm.
I think something that actually sometimes I think we're losing this a little bit in today's world. And this is where I'm going to show my my age. I have often found that the most important thing that I can bring to any client work is to literally just physically and emotionally be as present as I possibly can.
Hmm.
Um, and it almost doesn't matter. Like you can learn techniques help, circumstances help, environment helps. The horses are huge.
Hmm.
But the reason horses work, the reason horses help is because they are the epitome of presence. Like they're
Hmm.
not trying, they have no agenda.
Hmm. That's right.
Right. Right.
Hmm.
So and you are facilitating that and carrying that same energy to the work with the client. I
Hmm.
think often we underestimate when we talk about our value, what to charge, what you bring, why you're good at what you do. I have a both and here. I do think as a practice owner that anything you can do that helps differentiate you in some way is a good thing. Like like that you are an expert in a particular modality, or you do
Sure.
have a reputation for a particular type of problem that is very specific. That will help. If you are known for your couples work, that will help you stand out in a way. And ultimately, none of that matters nearly as much as your ability to be a complete and respectful witness and to hold space with that client, no matter what it is they're going through. I think that's powerful and huge. And you can do that in any format, in any office, anywhere.
Hmm.
That is all about you and your energy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. I think also too, one of the things is not getting focused and fixated on one thing. So for instance, I
Mm.
have a dog, she comes out. Sometimes the horses are over here and we're working with the dog. I have a
Huh.
cat.
Huh.
He's involved too. I also have an office where I don't use the horses, or maybe we just sit on the porch and look outside and do. So offering, not just one simple thing, but being able to be flexible within what
Yep.
you're doing, holding space for the client in that way is really can be wonderful because sometimes it's just too cold to go out there, or we don't, the client's tired and they don't want to go out there with the horses, and we sit on the porch or we sit in my
Yeah.
office.
Yeah.
So being flexible that way too is
You
amazing.
follow the flow. You follow the
Yeah.
flow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. And that's a skill that
Mm.
comes over time. And that comes, so I don't know if you ever did this, but like I have these memories of in the very, 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 very beginning when I first was doing psychotherapy as a grad student. I was like, I would read all the journal articles about what to say in the first session, and I would like map out what I'm going to do and how I'm going to do it and what we're going to talk about. And I did that the first, I don't know, however length of time. It didn't take long to realize that it didn't really matter what I planned. We were going to deal with
Hmm.
whatever came up that day. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's
Yeah.
really
And I
funny.
believe that having the EMDR has really helped with that too, because there is a lot of structure in it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have that. So we can do some talk therapy, we can do some EMDR, we can use the horses, just combining all of that. But you're
Yep.
right. It does
Yeah.
go the way it goes. And also, as you said, skill matters and being able to redirect so that we're not off on the topic of the week when we
Yeah.
really need to be working on some of this other stuff. So it's a really a balance there of knowing
I had
which way to go.
also, yeah, and trusting your own intuition,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you are feeling your way through it as well. Your energy matters.
Mm-hmm.
The way you're reading it internally matters as well.
Mm-hmm.
You're so good. This is such a perfect blend, I think, for you. I
Oh,
can totally feel that who you are and what you bring to the work is such a perfect match for the way that you do this. Um, I had also never heard of doing EMDR as a group. I'm going to satisfy my own curiosity
yeah.
today.
Yeah.
How does that work? Because I've not heard of that either.
Yeah, so it's something I've been doing for a while and didn't really realize that there was actually a protocol for it. It's GTEP and GREP, EMDR, and Amy and Bonnie have been trained in that. And so they were like, "Hey, this is what we're doing," and I was like, "Hey, let's bring the horses into that." But it's basically going through the protocol of EMDR, but you're asking them to maybe not choose something so big and terrible,
Mm.
right? Something a little more manageable, right?
Mm-hmm.
The big and
Mm-hmm.
terrible stuff you can work on with your therapist.
Yep. Yep.
But we specifically targeted things that have happened in your practice, in your mental health practice or your medical profession, things that happen that you just can't seem to shed or get rid of.
Got it.
So that's what the group EMDR does is it allows this really collaborative work with people.
Mm.
Everybody's digging in and you can feel it around you. It was so powerful to watch people doing their own work while standing next to someone else who's doing that same work.
Mm. Mm.
Very wonderful, collaborative, powerful. And I think it's just a beautiful way to another way, right?
Wow.
Another way.
Yeah.
Nothing's just one way. It's another way to help people and also our help ourselves. We get really entrenched in helping people and forgetting about to take care of ourselves. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's huge. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So tell me
huge.
about that. How have you had to learn to take care of yourself? Because you do have a
hmm
fairly complicated business at this point.
hmm
You're doing a lot, right?
Yeah. Yeah, my husband often says, you know what, can you take a day so that you're not running around and doing all these things? And I'm like, yes, I need to. Yes, I will.
Good.
So I've started taking Fridays off, which has helped.
Good.
Not always, but sometimes I'll take them off. Um,
Okay.
but yeah, we're learning ways to take care of myself. So daily meditation, journaling, the things I tell my clients to do.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Walking, while I walk my dog, exercise, breathing, just mindfulness daily practice is
Yeah.
so important. Connecting with just the breath and doing what you're doing right now. I have a history of meditative and martial arts.
Oh, really? Okay.
And so I that's a real big foundation for me. And bringing that into my practice has been wonderful. Doing Tai Chi, all the things that really help keep us grounded and focused. So that's my self-care really is just, and spending time with my family. I don't work past a certain hour anymore.
Yeah, I was wondering about boundaries. Like
Yeah,
how good are you at
thank
that?
you.
Yeah.
I'm great. I'm great at boundaries now. Really, I don't work past a certain hour. I schedule things the way I want to schedule them. But haven't always been able to do that. And I think that that's part of what some of us have to go through in our
Yep.
process of being mental health. It's like, you start off over here, kind of getting everything thrown at you, and then you hone in on what
Yes.
you're learning and what you're practicing and what your supervisors and all the things. And then that develops into this beautiful private practice or practice that you're in with other people. And boundaries are a big part of that. I don't answer my calls after a certain time. I turn my phone off or turn it over.
Yep.
My clients know how to help themselves if there's an emergency. And it's not that I'm not there for people, but I'm also setting a boundary.
Yeah.
Like if
Yeah.
they text me and I see that it's not an emergency, like if I happen to see it, they know I'll respond tomorrow. In
Yes.
fact, yeah.
Was that something you had to learn? Because I just thought, do you live? I don't even know this. Do you live on your farm?
Yes.
So your
Yes.
home and
Yes.
your barn and the arena, all that is together, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And like a farm is a living, breathing thing. So it's a
Mm-hmm.
24-hour thing, right? It's not an office. You
Yes.
close the door and go home at the end of the day. So was that also something you had to learn over time? about how to separate home time from work time, and I'm just curious about that process for you, because I would think that would have been sort of messy in the beginning.
Yeah, definitely, for sure. Yeah, yeah, because we're always trying to keep it up, and it's mowing and feeding and all the things, having animals. So it's definitely been a process of learning how to turn it off. It's funny that you asked that, because I when I very first started, I would really go home and think about everything, right? When I was in my 20s, just this and that, and what did I do and how could I do better, and all the reading and all things. And one of my supervisors told me one time, write all the clients' names down. I was in residential setting. The clients were there for a year and a half to 2 years. So it was a long relationship with these clients. And learning boundaries was something, it's like, oh, okay, yeah, I need to ask them not to approach me at my car right when I drive up. That was foreign to me. I'd help them as soon as they walked up. So one of the things that she said was, write all their names down and put it in the drawer and say goodnight. And
Oh,
I
what a
started
lovely
doing that.
idea.
I started doing it, and it worked. It's like, yeah, now I'm going to go home, and I'm going to be home, and I'm going to be refreshed for tomorrow, because that was what happens, right? It's the burnout. It's just,
That's great. What a great little tip.
Yeah. So now I do it. I still do it if I'm struggling or whatever. And I also practice my mindfulness and say, what am I doing right now? I'm breathing, sitting here.
Be present in the moment.
Yeah. I'm here.
Back to
anchor back to my present tense. I'm talking to my sons, or I'm helping my kids, or working with my husband, or just,
When you work and live in the same place, I think you have to be even more aware of this, I think, in a way.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's some pressure to keep the place nice, right? It's like, oh, people are coming over and everything needs to be exactly perfect. And so that's a process of just, asking for help.
Yeah.
Like I'll ask one of my 3 children to help, my husband, my friends. We actually hired somebody finally when the boys went to college to help with the poop scooping.
Good.
And my husband had been on me for years. Please, let's get somebody to help you, and there's that I can do it all by myself when I don't need to.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I'm better if I don't do it all myself.
100%. Okay, y'all catch that. She's better if she doesn't do it all herself. Tune into that for a minute, because that is also, I do think this too is part of the evolution of a practice. And I just want to take a second and recognize and honor something you just said, Julie. When you were talking about where you started versus where you are now, that over time, you began to hone it in a certain way. Like in the beginning, it's kind of a big old messy thing. But over time, you began to shape it and to prune it by learning the hours you want to work and when you don't, scheduling the way you want to, taking time off. I'm a huge fan of that. We don't do that. Clarifying the boundaries around when you're available and when you're not. And also who you serve and who you don't, the clients that are good fit for you and the clients who are not, that you don't have to take care of everybody. All of that is how you grow an ideal practice. That's what you wake up one day and go, this is pretty cool what I got here. I like this, right?
Yeah.
And it's never static. It's always evolving. There's never going to be an end to it, because you're not static, of course. Yeah. But that's been quite a process for you. So that's super cool. Yeah.
Yeah, honing in on who I'm seeing too, because I can't help everybody. I get a lot of calls. Equine therapy is known and people want to do it, and I'm so grateful that they've contacted me. And there are some people that I, will try to redirect if I feel like it's not a good match, or I just can't. It's not something that we're a good fit. They're not looking for what I provide, but also knowing your scope of practice and knowing who you're supposed to be helping and not. When I first started, it was like, okay, I'm going to take anybody that I think will fit. And that was also helpful. That wasn't bad, because it showed me, oh, yeah, this is who kind of fits in this, and this is who maybe not, maybe doesn't. So that was a real learning experience too. So it's like, you can't do it wrong. You just go through the process, you fumble through, and you are kind to yourself and you love yourself through the process. I think that's the big thing. loving yourself through the fumbling through and knowing, again, I think I said this earlier, but working with young practitioners who think they have to know everything, and you don't. That's what mentors and consultants and supervisors and reading and going to trainings is for. That's why we're all doing it, because it really does evolve. Things do change.
Yeah.
The way we were doing it back in my 20s isn't the way we're doing it now, right? Which is wonderful. It's like, oh yeah, and being able to keep up with that in a way that's honoring myself and the clients.
You just said love yourself all the way through it. Be proud of yourself. Love yourself through it. I love that. I think that is a piece we miss often. I think in any kind of healing arts, we are so focused on other. We're so focused on healing, helping, serving, supporting, that we tend to leave ourselves out of the equation. I'm a 9 on the Enneagram. That's what they are known for. No, it's not about me. It's all about you, right? And that's sort of what we are prone to that in this kind of work. And I love what you just said about, you are there too. You are important too. You matter too. So take care of yourself. Yes. Set your boundaries, but also give yourself permission to grow and to try and to change things. You don't have to have it all figured out, and love yourself through it. That's such a beautiful message, Julia.
Yeah.
That's so important.
Yeah. Love yourself through the process. All of it.
Good Lord.
The ups and downs.
Absolutely. 100. In other words, practice what you teach your clients. You would say that to them.
Yes. Also, I have one other.
Yeah.
And that is get your own therapist. I think that's so important. Yeah. So I think that what can happen is we don't know what it's like, if we haven't had a therapist ourselves, to go sit in a room with a person that we've never met and talk to them about what's going on. And then also, we don't know what it's like to go in weekly, and on the drive there, the process of driving to therapy, the process of going home from therapy, how it feels when it's over. Do you want to talk to somebody? Do you not want to talk about it? All the things that go along. Do we want to tell our therapist everything? Do we want to hold a little bit back? All the stuff that we don't know unless we've been through therapy ourselves, which for a lot of people is very scary. They want to provide it. But it's really scary to go get one. And so I would recommend you go get yourself a therapist, 100%.
100%. And that, I don't think anyone has said that. That is so right. And I would add to that, if you don't want to do that, or you haven't done that, or you find some resistance to that, I invite you to be curious about what that's about. Right? Yes, we all need to do our own work. And if you have done it, but it's been a long time, maybe it's time to go back. Because you're right. You will never look at the other side of the couch the same way. And once you have had that experience yourself, it does really, really make a difference.
Well, and also too, going along the lines of AA meetings or Al-Anon meetings, we're really great at going, you need to go to AA meetings, but have you ever been? It's scary. To go and walk in that door, or Al-Anon, or just not know people. I mean, I think sometimes it's like, that saying, I don't expect my clients to do anything I wouldn't do. There's that realm of taking responsibility for. It sounds really easy and great when we're talking about it, sitting in that chair or in the arena. It's like, just go journal tonight. But then people get home and it's like, what do I do? What do I need to do? And that's a process for all of us to go through, is just to know what it's like to be on the other side of being asked to step into our own power and our own life and make a change. Right? But then go and do that, right?
Walk your talk.
Walk
your talk. Yeah. That makes me want to come right back to knowing what to charge. Right?
That's fun.
Well, I think for practice owners, that is like, sometimes I feel like I beat that horse to death. Honestly, I've talked about it so much. But it is sort of the symbol of all symbols in terms of how we honor and value ourselves as a clinician or as a healer. And it is the place where the work is. Because for us, I feel like, because when we get comfortable with and at peace with the whole concept of asking to be paid for what you do, for the exchange of value, that payment and services is, for the flow of energy back and forth with our clients in that way. As we grow into not wincing when we do that, and get comfortable with, yeah, this is what I charge. And isn't that awesome? And yay for you for investing in yourself with me. I'm so proud of you for doing that. I know it's a big deal. We are proud of our clients and we are proud of ourselves. Everything gets so much easier. And it isn't about the money. It's about self-respect. It's about loving yourself as you grow this imperfect, evolving ideal practice. And it is a great, great model for clients, I believe, in the value of the work. This work is important, and this is one way we measure it. There are lots of ways, but this is one. So, so good.
Yes, absolutely.
You know what? There's been sort of like I want to sort of pull this together. There have been two levels to what we've talked about here. We've been talking a little bit about the evolution of a practice. I love the horse stuff and I want to do experiential work. And so I'm going to have horses, and then what? And that you started off with this individual work, one-on-one work, and that you keep coming, you sort of find and explore all these creative ways of delivering services. Group work, family work. What a great idea that is.
Oh, it's very powerful.
I can only imagine how powerful that would have been. And your willingness to try those things, expand in those ways, offer those services to the public and to institutions and organizations, treatment centers, other therapists. Like the way that has evolved for you is one really cool lesson here that I hope people will take away. There's so much more, guys, you can do with your practice than just sit in a room and talk to somebody for an hour a week. And there is nothing wrong with that. If that works and you're happy with that and you've kind of got your little place carved out, that is great. But I do invite you to always sort of turn on your creative self and what else could I do with them? And if you find yourself having an urge in the moment of I wish it would be super cool if I did X, Y, Z, I invite you to explore that a little bit and maybe try something. Because you may find that you have a way of impacting clients that you had no idea would work the way it does. So don't be afraid to try something that sounds crazy. Y'all know that I used to do secret adventures. I took people out jumping off of cliffs and whitewatering and pottery classes, all kinds of crazy stuff. That served people in a different way. I talked to a therapist recently who took people surfing as part of the work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's all different kinds of ways. Don't be afraid to try stuff. That's one thing. So the evolution of your practice alone has been part of this, Julie. But the other part that you're sharing with us, which I love, is this sort of deep wisdom about who you become as a human being, as a clinician, as a practice owner over time. That those are two parallel growth processes that happen at the same time. Be kind, be patient. I find myself wanting to say, you got this.
Yeah.
You got this. What a beautiful message. Thank you so much for this today. For people who, and you also do clinical supervision, I think you're doing that too, right? Yep.
Yes, I do. Yes.
So many things.
All fun.
All fun. Fun is key.
Yes.
Fun is key. If it ain't
challenging, fun,
Yes. Yeah, I love it. So for people who are oh, how does this woman do what she does? I want to learn more. What would be the best way for them to learn more about you or to connect with you?
Okay. So I have a website. It's Open Reins, REINS.com. So reins like horse reins, openreins.com. And that's a great way you can see all what I offer on there and also contact me that way. And then I have a Facebook page. It's Open Reins Counseling at Double J Ranch. We had to change it. We got hacked. So now we had to add the Double J Ranch.
Oh, shoot.
It was Open Reins Counseling, but we got hacked. And then the other one is an Instagram page, Open Reins Counseling. All of those, have the messaging, and then you can message me. You can also go to Psychology Today, message me there. There's all kinds of different ways to find me. And just really let me know what you're interested in. And I'd love to help. I love to work with therapists, and I love to help with consulting because there's so much potential. And I do think that the burnout comes from the day in and out of the same thing.
Yeah.
And so maybe getting, moving a little bit and getting out of your chair. And there's a thing in horses where the in the front of the horse, it's the stop zone. On the side of the horse is the friendly zone. And there's some real powerful stuff being side to side with your client and walking with them instead of right directly in front.
Yeah.
And so that can really create some really great stuff. So take walks with your clients. You'll get, it's like
Yes.
riding in the car with your kids. You get a lot of information there.
That used to be my number one go-to with parents of teenagers was take them for a drive. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Friendly zone right there on the side.
Yeah, that's so true. I hadn't thought about that from a horse perspective. I used to have an office that backed up to the Greenbelt, which is a long paved trail system in our city, y'all. And I used to take kids, especially, for a walk. One time I took a woman who showed up drunk, took her for a walk to try to sober her up a little bit.
Nice.
We did that, yeah. And I used to run into other therapists. It was really funny. The section of the Greenbelt that my office was near, there were other therapists within maybe a mile of that section. It was not unusual to meet other therapists who were out walking some particular.
Nice.
We just sort of said hi and walked on by.
Yeah, it's so great. Funny. It's great.
So
yeah.
Funny. Yeah.
Move a muscle, change a thought. That's what they say. Move a muscle, change a thought.
I love it. That's great.
Yeah.
You have all kinds of little writer downers.
I do. I just noticed that myself. I was like, oh, there they are. Yeah.
Yeah. You should capture those. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here today, Julie. This has been awesome. And rich in a way. I knew it would be. I'm so delighted with that. I love to close by asking folks if, is there anything that I haven't asked you, anything that we haven't talked about, or anything that you just feel called to share that you feel like would make this conversation complete?
I'd say we've already talked about it, but I would say be kind to yourself. Know that you're helping people, but they're also helping you. I think that would be the biggest thing is I've learned so much from my clients. Oh, yeah. We're all collaborating and working together and trying to make ourselves and the world a better place. So that would be what I would close with just, be kind to yourself and know that you can learn from your clients as well as them learning from you.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Perfect. And absolutely true. Yeah. How many times, y'all, have you found yourself sitting in a session and going, oh my gosh, I never thought about that? When a client says something.
Wisdom.
Right. Or you hear yourself talking to them and in your head you're going, are you listening to what you're saying here? Because you need to do that too. Right? That's what I do. Do you hear yourself?
Yeah.
It's really great. Thank you, Julie. Thank you so much for for being with us today. And guys, I hope you guys will look her up. I'm going to invite you to look into her marketing. Go look at what she says on Psych Today. Go look at her. Did you notice that she mentioned social media? She's not stressing out about it, but she has a presence there. It is the same messaging in 3 or 4 different ways of reaching people. Notice that, because I also know you guys stress out over that. And what Julie does that works, besides the fact that she has a unique service, which helps her stand out, but you can tell this from this interview, she is real. And I bet you, if you go and look at her quote, marketing, unquote, you will find that it's just Julie being Julie. And speaking,
that's true.
Right? Just being who she is. But she has a presence out there where people find a way of connecting. So I just want to point that out really quick because I know that's something that stresses people out and it doesn't have to. All right. And with that, I think I will bring this to a close. I hope you guys enjoyed this as much as I did. I hope you get something rich and delightful from this and that your practice is different this very week, because of some of the things you've heard here today. Have a great week, everybody. With that, I'll let you guys go, and I will see you next week right here, back here on the Ideal Practice Podcast. Thanks, everybody. Bye now. Hey, y'all. If this program has become important to you, if Ideal Practice matters, it would mean so much to me if you'd be willing to take just a minute to do 1 or 2 of the following things. First of all, would you follow or subscribe to the show here at Ideal Practice? Following me helps you because you'll never miss an episode, but it helps me as well for all kinds of reasons. To do that, all you have to do is go to the show page for Ideal Practice on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. There, just click on the plus sign that you'll usually find in the top right-hand corner, or click on the word follow that you're going to find somewhere there on that page. Of all the things, this really is the most important thing you can do for the podcast itself. While you're there, it would be extra special if you would be willing to give me a 5-star rating, and even better than that, a review with your own words. Your words matter. And when you write what you feel, what you think, you uplift and encourage others. And I love that. If you want to go a step further than that, take your favorite episode or two, one of the ones that has meant a lot to you, and share it with a friend. Could you do one or two of those things for me? I promise I will love you forever. You guys matter to me, and I value your support more than I can possibly say. Thank you, sweet friend, for anything you can do to help me out and support the show. I'll see you again soon.